to tell you a very juicy secret, but first I have to ask you a few questions. So, one, after you're saved, can you be unsaved, or is that just called backsliding? Two, if you're already saved and going to heaven and the devil can't have your soul, then why does he still tempt you? And have you ever thought about that? Three, if you have, what is he trying to gain by doing that? So I'm going to read my notes, off of the screen. So I'm sorry if I keep looking to the right. So, okay, are you ready for the tea now? This is some Epstein Island level. This is some Epstein Island list level stuff. So here it goes. The number one goal of the enemy when it comes to believers is he wants to steal your voice. And no, not like Ursula, silly. He wants to steal your testimony. So let me unpack this. If your answers to my questions were once saved, always saved, because he's just a mean bully and he wants you miserable, then you're on the right track. But what he wants even more is to knock the power of conversions out of your hand. And conversions meaning, you help a person who is lost become a Christian, or somebody who's kind of straddling the fence. You help them, go in the right direction. He wants to make you a useless tool of God. Basically, he wants you to be a Phillips when you really need to be a flathead. But how does he do that, you may ask? He makes you sad. He gets you caught up in distractions. He riddles you with doubt and insecurity. And above all, he does everything he can to keep you out of your Bible and your prayer closet. So how does this help him if he still can't have your soul? Well, let's think on this. You're far from God, suffering from anxiety, depression, loneliness. Life hasn't turned out how you thought it would. People are getting on your nerves, whatever it may be. And you start thinking with your heart and your feelings. And you get all caught up in your humanness. The humanness in you desires things that are not of God, things that aren't holy, to make you feel happy and fulfilled, right? To the person who doesn't want to feel, that might be alcohol. To the insecure person, that might be slander, gossip, things to get friends. To the lonely person, that might be whoever will give them attention, and if you're married, it's not your spouse. To the young person, to the young person, that is to sow your wild oats while you still can use your age as an excuse. And what do people say about Christians who find themselves caught up in those things? You're fake. You're judging me. Didn't you just do that? The devil often causes a breakdown before you surrender to God for a breakthrough. And the timing of that is not lost upon him. He wants you break down, be in the pit, do things you wouldn't normally do or haven't done since you first, gave your heart to God, or since you were a teenager, or since this, since that. He wants you low. And he already can't have your soul, so it's not like he's losing his grip on you necessarily by letting you, get low enough to where he knows you're going to cry out for God. He knows you know who your father is. He knows where you're going to go crawling back to. So he does that because of the people who are watching you, because of the people who are listening to you, or at least people who know the people who do that with you. Okay. Then the devil has people bound by the spirit of confusion, because who better to listen to about battle than someone who just came back from war? So, for example, a Christian who has just went through a really hard time, a really low valley in their faith, someone who has turned back to bad coping mechanisms, somebody who, I don't care what people say about me, and they're living their life because they're so tired of being the nice guy. They're so tired of letting people walk all over them. So they gossip, so they slander, so they cuss, So they do, whatever. They don't care anymore, right? Like I'm good, and these bad things keep happening to me. I'm good, and these people keep saying this stuff about me. I keep getting taken advantage of. I keep this. I keep that. The spirit's broken down. So for a Christian who has just went through that phase, who has just went through that valley, that war, you know, who better to get advice from? Who better to listen to than somebody who just had a face off with the devil? But that's where the spirit of confusion comes in, because their mind, the lost, whoever, their mind tells them, don't listen to her, she's a hypocrite. Don't listen to her, she's fake. Don't listen to her, she's judging you. Okay, so with all that being said, he doesn't want your soul because he knows it's already spoken for. He knows you signed a contract. He knows, you made a deal. You shook God's hand. But he knows that through you, people can be converted. He knows through you, people can see the light. He knows through you that souls can be directed, lost souls can be directed towards the Lord, right? Yeah, they see you putting your faith in the Lord when hard times come. They see you being generous. They see you keeping your mouth shut when you have every right, or you want to, whatever, you want to say something to somebody or about somebody that is very deserving. He wants you, he wants you to be doing whatever bad thing that you may struggle with. He wants you to be drinking. He wants you to be doing whatever it is that the lost think Christians aren't supposed to do. Whether it's true or not, your opinion doesn't matter. My opinion doesn't matter. He wants you to be doing whatever will make the lost think, isn't she a Christian? Isn't Jesus supposed to be helping her and supporting her and getting through this stuff? Why is she turning to all these other things? It kind of seems like that guy ain't working out for her. Doesn't seem like he's very supportive. Doesn't seem like that faith thing really works. It seems like it's kind of a joke, And I cannot say that I wouldn't feel the same way watching somebody act like that. I can't say that all the times in my life that people that may have watched me might not have said the very same exact things about me and probably worse. So the whole point of this secret spilling, this tea spilling, is that the devil doesn't want your soul. He wants to take your power to influence other souls towards the Lord away from you. And it's not very hard to do that. People don't want to follow God. People don't understand God. People think that God is evil, that he is a fun sucker, that he just wants to punish everybody. And you have to get to know God. You have to read your Bible and really, study him to understand him. And, that takes time. And when we are influencing people for the bad, they're not going to go there. They're not going to get there because they see our behavior. They see our attitudes. They see how we don't trust our own God. We don't turn to our own God. Things get tough and we turn to other things, other people, and that's coming from a personal experience, multiple, but the biggest one, a 3-year stint I just did with being and doing everything that I just talked about. And you may know, you may not know. If you know, you know. If you don't know, I can tell you that there are probably people who I love and care about that maybe, at least for now, they don't care what I have to say. Because they remember not too long ago that I behaved this way. I talked this way. I, insert whatever you want to. And that sucks because I had a full-blown actual surrendering to God. Because before, I was like, I believed in God and I loved God, but I wasn't letting go of that control. I need to be in control. I know me. I love me. I care about me. I have to deal with whatever consequence I have, so I really have to think this through. I have to be in control. Well, after that breakdown, I had a breakthrough, a big one. And it's like, now I know who to turn to. I know what not to turn to. I do not give myself more credit than I deserve on, I would never do that. I would never say that. I would never act that way. Honey, any honeys that's watching this, don't say those words. I was told that many years ago. Don't say you wouldn't do that. Literally just like that. And I was like, no, I know me. I wouldn't do that. And then guess what? Did that. So, anywho, forgot where I was going. Remember that song, This Little Light of Mine. Okay. There's bushels everywhere. And we say hide it under a bushel. No. Well, you have to fight those bushels. You have to run away from those bushels. You have to smack those bushels out of the way. Because it is not hard for a bushel in the form of gossip to come at you, and for you to hurt somebody's feelings, and for you to judge somebody that you didn't realize was in this certain situation, or that what was said about them that they said about you wasn't true, or whatever. It is not hard to get into a position where you feel desperate and you want to be numb, and you turn to a bottle, which starts out as a little wine at dinner time, and then before you know it, it's a bottle of wine at dinner time, and then before you know it, it's Everclear, it's vodka, it's whiskey, it's whatever your poison is. Pick your poison, and then drugs. I struggled with coping with alcohol, which is something that I kind of did as a teenager, but I just did it sporadically, and it didn't bother me to stop it. So I never thought that I would struggle with alcohol. I never thought that I would like it as much as I did for coping with stress and anxiety and all that stuff. So, as much as I hate to admit that truth about myself, it has opened my eyes that I'm not going to judge a drug addict. I'm not going to judge somebody who is addicted to drugs for the fact that we want to feel the least amount of pain that we possibly can. And when you're desperate and whatever you are trying is not working or not working fast enough, sometimes you try other things because you just want it gone. You just want to feel okay. So anyways, sometimes it can be cussing. It can be what people know that we watch on TV, maybe behind closed doors even. It can be how we treat people, how we just, there's just a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of bushels. So we have to be on guard, and we have to keep our light lit. And when you understand that that is the devil's goal, that is his number one weapon, his weapon of mass destruction, that he can use for a Christian who's already, given their heart to God. He don't want you. He's just not that into you. He's into your children. He is into your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers. He is into whoever you are around that you have even a tic-tac size amount of influence over. Because when you get through that breakdown and you go through that breakthrough and you get it, you understand. You are, you know how to walk with the Lord. I'll put it that way. There are people that you could touch, that you could inspire, that you could help send to heaven, that it's probably mind-blowing. And you know what's scary to the devil? A person who can do that. A person who has the capability to inspire people to love Jesus, inspire people to pursue Jesus. And if he can ruin that, you know that you're losing some people that otherwise might have listened to you, that otherwise might have believed what you had to say about Jesus, that otherwise might ask you questions. But unfortunately, sometimes we can run that, at least for some people. And don't get discouraged and downtrodden, because it's not over. I look at myself right now and I know that whether it be permanently or for a short amount of time, like I said, I've lost influence on some people. I have given ammunition from the devil to them to use against me, to use against my testimony, to use against the words I say, to use against my reputation, to use against my walk, right? I know that. But I also know that there are people who will meet me in later walks of my life, or maybe even those who appreciate the truth, who appreciate people who don't, try to be like, oh, I've never done anything, I'm perfect. Not me, sister. I will tell you, I've been a big old mess up in ways that, I never thought I would be. I never, ever thought that certain things that I've done, certain things that I've said, certain ways that I've acted, never thought I'd do that. But that is because I did not realize how hard you had to hold on to Jesus when you felt the farthest apart from him. But now I do. So I hope that this helps you. I hope this little tidbit of secret information helps you cling tighter to Jesus, want to get to know him more. And the best way to get to do that is through the Bible, is to not just read for the cute little quotes that, we can put on our about me's, or even just, like the list that you get from Pinterest that are like verses for anxiety, verses for this, verses for that. Okay, that is great. Any Bible reading is fantastic, but it's like uncooked food. If you're starving, uncooked food, you don't care. It's good, great, give it to me. But when you want like a good meal, something that is fulfilling and it tastes good and it just does something for the senses, you want it cooked, you want it prepared, you want it marinated, seasoned, whatever. And that is what reading the Bible in context is like. And I'm sure I'll come up with a better analogy after I stop talking, but for right now, that's what you got. You got eating frozen corn dogs compared to, ironically, the first meal that came to my mind was sinful chicken from whatever girl that is. City something girl. Anyways, yeah. So, get in your Bible, learn your God, learn your Jesus, learn your strategies for prayer. Learn, this is something that I'm learning right now, things that can hinder the answering of your prayer, which is not abiding in Jesus. So that means, or basically not abiding in Jesus, which is you don't really know him, you don't really know what his word says, you don't live in him. So that's a whole another 18-minute video that I would have to record. But so get in your Bible and do your best. And sometimes our best is ugly and nasty and tattered, but the good thing about Jesus is he can sew it back together. And when people are laughing at you, when people are making a mockery of you, after you've probably made a mockery of yourself, God can use that for his glory. God, hopefully, I guess it would probably depend on if you're like trying or not, maybe, but God will work that out for his glory. So I gave you some bad news, but I gave you some good news.